Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a video covering the Lamzu Tachi. This was not sent out for review, but of course I review everything the same. It really boils down to my independent performance and how I'm feeling in game. If I'm performing at a top level and I can grind and hit those max ranks, that's where it's going to come down to. And I've been on the Lamzu Tachi to hit Grandmaster in Rivals, and I'm almost to Masters in Apex Legends in this new season on the Lamzu Tachi. To me, the mouse is very comfortable. A lot of people think or thought that it was going to be like a Razer Viper Mini or a Ponage Trinity. That is actually not the case, although it is in somewhat of a similar category in terms of its overall length. You guys can see its grip width is more along the lines of something like a in-between of a Maya and a Maya X. To me, the mouse is exceptionally comfortable, and I'll get you guys a little bit closer to the mouse so you can see how I kind of grip the mouse and where I think the comfort really shines on the Maya X, and we will get into the build quality. For this segment, I do want to compare the Tachi to two mice you guys may have tried. I have the Vaxi Sora, I have the G Pro Superlight on the left. Now, comparatively to the Vaxi Sora, you can see the Sora does feel quite different in the hand. It feels more aggressive, and that is due to its hump being more back-centric, and then having this decline in its overall height to mouse 1 and mouse 2. Also, the curvature on the butt of the mouse to the sides does feel more pronounced. So your thumb and your hand kind of feels like it's being drawn into a pinch towards mouse 1 and mouse 2. And it does make the area near mouse 1 and mouse 2 feel a bit more narrow and more aggressive in feel than something like the Tachi. Now, the Tachi has more of a mid-centered hump. You can see the rise is rather gradual to the peak, and then a gradual decline to mouse 1 and mouse 2. So mouse 1 and mouse 2, my hand feels like it's resting a little bit higher, and the grip width feels a little bit more relaxed. Also, the curvature, again, towards the butt of the mouse, not quite as aggressive to the area near mouse 4 and mouse 5. So it doesn't feel quite as narrow feeling in that area as something like a Razer Viper Mini or the Ponage Trinity. It just feels much more relaxed, much more comfortable, but still super maneuverable in comparison to something like a G Pro Superlight. Doesn't feel quite as long as a G Pro, doesn't feel quite as high, and the gradual rise to that peak while being in about the same area in terms of that mid-centered hump on the G Pro Superlight, it just feels much, much better because you can kind of see like the curvature here on the G Pro, how you've got this like gradual side curve from the top kind of brushing out to the sides. The Tachi actually stays a little bit flatter in the entire top shell. Still that bit of a brush stroke to the sides of the mouse, but stays a little bit flatter here at the top. So you've got this really nice base to plant your hand on if you want to get a little bit of palm engagement, and just some really nice flat feeling sides with just a bit of curvature for a really nice relaxed grip. The inner hand maneuverability is just drastically heightened in comparison to something like the G Pro Superlight because of that reduced height. It feels really, really good. And again, it's more of an in-between of a Maya and a Maya X. It's not like the Viper Mini or the Trinity. In my opinion, I really just play better on something like this because of the grip width just being a bit more natural feeling to me. Now, getting to the overall build quality, you can see the mouse does have cutouts on the front side at the bottom of mouse 1 and mouse 2, leading to the bottom of the mouse in the center. But on the sides, you have no cutouts, and the texture, there's a little bit of texture on the sides of the mouse. The front of the mouse on mouse 1 and mouse 2 feels actually a little bit smoother, and I do like the difference, but it's very, very minute in terms of the texture on the sides of the mouse, and I do think the build quality here is superb. You can squeeze as hard as you can on that top shell, and it's just not budging. When we get to mouse 1 and mouse 2, there's a little bit of side play that you guys can see on mouse 1 and mouse 2. Now, in-game, I don't feel any of that, and that's really what's important to me. I didn't feel any switch grind, and I didn't feel any movement or any like flexing of the Mouse 1 and Mouse 2 material over those switches. It is using a TTC encoder. It feels fantastic, and Mouse 3 is very spammable and has a nice audible pop to it. I like that. Mouse 1 and Mouse 2, again, using Huano transparent blue shell pink dots. They feel fantastic, very spammable, poppy, crisp, just really good feeling buttons in Mouse 1 and Mouse 2. In terms of these side buttons, now the material on these side buttons just has a lot of play. Like if my thumb is resting on Mouse 1 and Mouse 2, these buttons like to move, and I wish they were more in place, just solid in place, because as my thumb is resting on them, I can feel those moving a little bit, which is just a little bit odd. But importantly, the pre-travel is very, very minimal, and post-travel is very minimal as well. Just a bit more towards the edges of Mouse 4 and Mouse 5, which occurs on almost every mouse. And on this, it's actually handled a little bit better than most mice in terms of that play on the button as you hit it towards the bottom. It's actually quite good. And these side buttons just feel really good in terms of their placement, in terms of their size, and that tactile feedback. They sound good, and they feel good as well. So I think that Lamzu's done a really nice job in the overall shell. The quality does feel really good. You can see the bottom of the mouse. The only thing I would say is the skate design here in terms of full-size skates. It might take a while to see full-size skates that fit this mouse, but overall, I do think there's enough room for dots. So if I was to remove this, right here, it seems like it's wide enough to fit some dots. And I do think that you'd be able to fit dots here and as well on top. The bottom shell feels fine. You can see it's massively cut out though, exposing that PCB. And you can see the screw holes are exposed where the skates are applied. So we can open this up, not have to remove any of the skates if you ever want to swap out your switches. And I've got the mouse open. You guys can see the PCB, the battery, those transparent blue shell pink dots, and the little mechanism here for the hot swap switches. Overall, this mouse is only 48 grams all put together. And again, taking out the screws, a very easy process that does not require you to change the default skates. And the system here to set the switch back into place and remove it, very, very easy. Anybody could definitely do it. Now, again, to take the switch out, you just have to grab a hold of the top and the bottom and just literally pluck it out. Very, very easy. Setting the shell back into place, very fast and very easy. So I really do like the Tachi. This is definitely going to be something that I continue getting playtime on. I can't say that for every mouse that I buy and every mouse that I test, but this is definitely going to be in the rotation. I think it is good, and they even advertise this. A lot of this is marketing, but I really do think that this is true. It's good for palm grip, good for claw, and good for fingertip. And it is the only magnesium mouse that I can think of that has hot swap switches. I might be wrong. I may be having a brain fart, but the hot swap system is fairly cool. It's got a Nordic 52840 MCU. It has the 3950 sensor. Again, 48 grams in its default state as I have it. Weight balance feel great. The coating feels good. There's just a lot to like about this particular mouse. So again, it is pricey. It's expensive. Another thing, it also has a web-based driver. They call it the Aurora section of their website, but you can change everything, including the debounce time, liftoff, pulling rate, the hertz pulling that it does have 8,000 by default. I'm just on 4,000 right now, and an area for macros as well. So a lot to like about the Tachi. I think Lamzu did a great job. Hopefully we see it in stock sometime soon. And again, I think the only limiting factor here is going to be that price point for you guys. But so far, I love mine. So guys, that's going to be it for this one. I hope it helped. If it did, please leave a sub to the channel. See you guys in the next review. Peace.